This is your captain speaking. And now I want to talk about Mars. We talked about Libra and the equinox. We talked about Venus and the profound dance that she's been in recently, is in right now, the liberating of the heart and blooming of the heart. And now we're going to talk about Mars. Mars and finding courage, feeling encouraged, and encouraging yourself. Encouraging yourself. I think that's a theme of the coming weeks. Encouraging yourself, being like a good coach, standing behind you. Mars has got your back right now, and you have your own back right now. Mars within you has your back. That's what I'm saying. And what am I talking about here? What am I talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Sun-Mars conjunction, everybody. Sun-Mars conjunction, you see what we're talking about here? Sun, 2 degrees, Mars, 6 degrees. They're both in Libra. We have had, Venus was not that long ago in Libra. We've got Mercury in Libra, about to go retrograde. Mars in Libra, Sun in Libra. So it is like super Libra time. And what we're about to talk about really benefits from Libra being the sign that it's in, or the season that it's in. The Sun-Mars conjunction benefits from becoming exact in the season of Libra. That's what I'm feeling right now. It's like we're going to talk about how this could be too hot. You could be hot-headed. You could be just like irritable. There's a potential for that with strong, hot Mars energy. But autumn is cooling it down. Libra is harmonizing it. And so this is a really amazing time for learning how to work with Mars well, to have a balanced relationship with Mars, to be in harmony with your own Mars energies. And so this is the season of harmonizing Mars. This is the season of harmonizing Mars. It's like the Libra sign and Venus, the Venus association with Libra, is a nice balance to how hot a Sun-Mars conjunction can be. And we're going to look at how it's going to be a long Sun-Mars-Mercury triple conjunction. That could be a real hot energy. It could be impulsive. It could take actions too forcefully. It could be too loud. But Libra, Venus chills it out. It balances it. It brings a sweeter version of it, a more loving version of it. Yeah, a more beautiful version of what Mars can look like and feel like. And so let's break it down here. I want to look at it on the chart a little bit, but I just want to point out the essence of it. And let me talk about it astronomically first. Like, what is it? What does it mean astronomically that the sun is conjunct Mars? What does it mean? Well, it means that Mars is on the other side of the sun compared to the Earth. The Earth is at its furthest away from Mars right now. Or you could say Mars is the furthest away from the Earth as it ever is. And so this is not the time to fly spacecraft to Mars. That happened last year when Mars was the brightest and the closest to the Earth during Mars retrograde. Right now, Mars is as far away from us as possible. And so in one way, you could kind of theorize that could indicate a kind of weaker Mars energy, because Mars is farthest away from us. But in another way, that's not typically what the astrological tradition would say about a Sun-Mars conjunction. It would usually be talked about as a very strong Mars force. And I do feel that that's true. And there's meaning to the fact that Mars is so far away. So I want to try to explore both of those things. Yes, yes. The phrase that comes to mind is this sense of Mars has my back. Mars has my back. Mars is behind the sun. It's got the back of the sun, and it's got the back of Earthlings. Mars has got our back earthlings back. It's interesting. It's a good time for a relationship with Mars and to feel Mars encouraging you, kind of helping you take strong actions that come from a strong sense of selfhood. This is a moment where you could feel very strongly who you are, like your essence, the essence of your identity and of your solar, unique, shining light. It's like Mars just gives it a lot of force, a lot of that kind of individuality, the life force energies behind your individuality. That's what you can feel during a Sun-Mars conjunction. And it's like when Mars is over on the other side of the Sun, one way of bringing a poetry to it, it's like Mars is off doing their adventures, his adventures. And it's like they are tackling the challenges that are out there in the wilds. And it's like some part of us is doing that right now, like off on our adventures, finding strength and courage through facing the battles of life. And so you can feel that right now, a kind of inner strength and courage that builds through, self-confidence, strong sense of who I am and what I'm meant to do in the world, the impact that I can have on the world. That's Sun-Mars. And so it's a time for tuning in to the strength of your own personality and its strong impulses to take action in this world, to have an impact in this world. And it's a time for feeling your fire. Also the end of summer, it's like feeling the fire force within you and then investing it wisely, taking strong actions from that life force, that fire force. And so, so Mars it's not visible. Mars is not visible in the sky. I think it's actually for like 6 months out of every 2 years. And so it's like Mars is off on their adventures. And we can't see Mars, and yet we feel Mars. We can't see Mars, but we feel Mars. That's the sense of he's got our back. He's got our back. We can't see him, but we know he's there. It's also, I think it's a time for discovering your strong inner coach, and also at the same time to find your strong inner athlete, to feel your coach and your athlete. The coach has the athlete's back. It's in the corner cheering on the athlete. It's on the sidelines. You're not looking at the coach. Might be hearing the coach, but you're not looking at the coach. You just feel them encouraging you, whether they're speaking it out loud or not. There's something about, and we're going to look at how, let's talk about Mercury getting involved here. Mercury's about to go retrograde, so I'll just do a side note and a little excursion, which is what Mercury loves to do, into Mercury retrograde, which is just about to happen. When is it? It's just like a day from now. There's some pretty cool energy tomorrow. I'll just mention there's a moon, Sun, Mars, Saturn grand trine. And so maybe this is a particularly good moment today and tomorrow to feel into the Mars energies and what you can do with them. To feel into the Mars energies and what you can do with them, the strength of your own force of action and how you can use it well and be disciplined with it and endure with it. And so, I like this Moon, Mars, Saturn grand trine that's coming in tomorrow. But when does Mercury go retrograde? I think it's like early on the 27th. And so, we're moving into 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. What is it? It's the 26th to October 18th. That's what I've written down. And so, just very briefly, when Mercury's retrograde, it is at its closest point to the Earth. Unlike Mars, which is the furthest away right now, Mercury is coming to be at its closest in about a week and a half at the midpoint of the 3 weeks. That's when Mercury is exactly conjunct the Sun from our perspective. So we'll just fast forward to that moment. You can see it coming in well, it's a week and a half from now. But you can see that Mercury is going retrograde into a triple conjunction with the Sun-Mars conjunction that we just spoke about. So Mercury's moving back towards the Sun-Mars. When it's exactly at its closest point to the Earth, Mars is on the furthest other side of the Sun. That's a very tight, unique kind of energy. Mars, Sun, Mercury, all in a line, all behind us. Well, yeah, they're all behind us because Mercury's inside. And they all have our back. They're all speaking words of encouragement to us in these coming weeks. And we're finding our own inner encouraging words to light us up, to take the actions that need to happen, and to speak the words with confidence that need to be spoken. That's Mercury, Mars. Speaking the words that must be spoken, speaking them confidently and assertively, and those words landing, hitting the mark. But the shadow side of this is doing it too loudly, too aggressively, too forcefully. And so this is where Libra comes into balance. Libra kind of takes it back a notch, cools it off a little bit. Autumn breezes cool off that hot tongue, hot head. That's what we're talking about. And so, yes, this Mercury retrograde, Mercury's at its closest distance to the Earth. And the way I've been thinking about that lately, it's like it's a moment where we can really understand Mercury. And I just want to focus on, we can really understand the way in which Mercury represents the speed of the mind, the loops of the mind, the analytical ideas that can go all over the place, the way in which we reconsider things, we go back and forth in how we think about things. That's the nature of Mercury. And it's like we can have particular understanding of that, how it helps us, how it hinders us. And we can also understand what brings it into balance, especially when it comes in Libra. And so what I often experience during Mercury retrograde is actually a kind of release from my ordinary mind and its monkey patterns, hopping all over the place. It's like I'm aware that's happening, but it's because it's there so strongly that it's easier for me to do what corrects it, which is basically Mercury's the left brain and Neptune's the right brain. And so when Mercury goes retrograde, it's like the left brain is going all over the place, but it compels us to do things that bring us back into the right brain. And basically that's, those are flow states. Flow states are where you let go of the analytical, self-critical, ego-based executive function, and the right brain is releasing into intuitive flow. And so, yes, that's what I think these 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde that are about to start are about. It's like noticing how your mind works and doing what brings it into balance. Especially spiritual practices, any kind of meditation practice is great for Mercury retrograde. And then it's like you surrender into the flow and the streams of consciousness. And this is where, sometimes, what is it? The astrological tradition cautions against making important decisions during Mercury retrograde. Now, I would rephrase that as cautions against making left brain decisions, but encouragement to make right brain decisions, which is good encouragement all the time. We should be making right brain decisions with the aid of the left brain. The left brain's a good servant to the right brain, and we should praise the left brain, celebrate the left brain. I'm looking around the chart here. It's a little bit confusing on my screen. We give praises to the left brain, but we celebrate and raise up to at least a little bit of a degree the right brain. And so anything that brings you into right brain flow states is awesome during Mercury retrograde, because it gives you a release from the mental chatter and a movement into a kind of intuitive mind state. an intuitive, even kind of psychic mind state is just, it's a very different way of being in our everyday lives that Mercury retrograde represents. It's really a time to take a vacation from your ordinary mind, but still your more intuitive mind is right there. And it works in mysterious ways. It works in dreams, it works in visions and fantasies and streams of consciousness. And so it's like you surrender your ordinary way of solving problems during Mercury retrograde and you engage the intuitive function. Okay, that's my excursion on Mercury retrograde. Okay, so we're coming back. We're coming back to focus on the Sun, Mercury, Mars triple conjunction. I've been doing it. During this Mercury retrograde, what's very unique is that it's going to be in a long conjunction with Mars. It's, what did I write down here? There's 36 days of Mercury conjunct Mars. They're not all in a row. They're two distinct periods. October 3rd to the 16th of October, and then they separate, they get pretty broad, and then they come back from October 29th to November 21st. 36 total days that are kind of like dominating this autumn. And so this energy, it's happening. And we also are heading, where is it right now? Let me go back here. Yeah, like right now, Mercury's about 18 degrees from Mars. That's not that far. And so it's close enough that as it goes retrograde, it's moving right into this energy. And so, yeah, we're moving into Mercury-Mars initiations, and with the Sun there. At the moment, the Mars is the furthest away on the other side of the Sun. Mercury's at its closest to the Earth, and it's like, it's like we're learning very strong versions of what Mercury-Mars is all about. And I must state one additional thing, lest I forget. As Mercury goes retrograde, it's also exactly square Pluto, and it is trine to Jupiter. So Mercury is square Pluto, it's trine Jupiter, and it's moving back to conjoin Mars. And so just like Venus has been going on a really big journey recently, Mercury is as well. Maybe in general, these coming couple of months, it's like it's a Mercury initiatory time where you're really learning a lot about how your mind works, and you're learning skills for using your mind effectively and communicating well and effectively. That's the Mars force. It's like it lands, the words land, the ideas land, the thought forms land. It's like you're looking at the target, you're eyeing it, and Mars is the arrow, and you're taking aim, and your thought forms are going to land. They're going to hit the target. You're going to take the actions that are necessary to bring the thought form into being. That's what I think this is about. Strong thought forms that take strong actions to bring the thought forms to life, to make them real, to manifest the vision, to manifest, the intuitive vision that can come during Mercury retrograde. That is the thought form that comes during a Mercury retrograde time is going to be an intuitive vision of some sort. To have Mars there, it takes that intuitively guided thought form, and you pull back the arrow, you aim for that timeline where it manifests. And you take that strong action, and you feel that you've got Mars at your back. You've got your inner coach at your back, and they're cheering you on. They're reminding you of your skills, reminding you of how hard you've trained as an athlete to overcome the challenges of life. And so, are you feeling it? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Are you going to take action with this? Are you going to make the most of this time? It's a totally unique time. I don't know how often this happens, that you get a Sun, Mercury, Mars, exact triple conjunction in the autumn, in the sign Libra, in this particular way, with additional things happening with Mercury, like that Mercury-Pluto square, the Mercury-Jupiter trine. Mercury-Pluto like intensifies the mind. It intensifies the words. It empowers those words and brings a kind of life force of nature to the ideas, the words, the communication. And so that's here really strong right now. And the Mercury trine Jupiter brings a kind of smile to it. It brings an expansive mountaintop vista to the thought forms that are coming online right now. And yes, this is a very profound time for your own mind, your own ideas, your own mental clarity, and your powers of the mind are really coming into focus. And you take those powerful thought forms and you take action with them. Mars's pace around the sun is 2 years. And it's like when you really want to manifest something, when you strongly move onto a new timeline where you got a vision of a timeline possibility, it takes strong action sustained over a couple of years. That's the way I think of it. When you really want to get something done, if you really want to have impact on your life, you got to sustain those strong moves. You got to make strong moves every day. You can't just make one strong move. You got to make strong moves every day, consistent with the vision of what's possible. And so that's what we're talking about. The next couple of months, it's like a strong seed point of a thought form that becomes strong, becomes powerful, expands and grows, and then you got to take action with it. I think it's a time for a kind of big vision, and I'll just give you a preview of coming attractions. It's like, I think if you really make good use of these next couple of months in this way I'm talking about, like tuning into the powers of your mind and taking action from that, like if you really start that process well, during these couple of months, we're heading into a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction next year. It only happens every 13 years, and it is the combination of like successful visions, positive visions, where you attune more easily from a positive mind state, from an expanded, more positive perspective. You're able to tune into the happier timelines. And it's like you're already doing that right now. You're like an athlete that's preparing to maximize the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction of next year. It's like this is the time to really work out, like really use your strength to move towards the big vision that will be even clearer next year. You already feel the pull towards the big vision, but it's going to manifest with greater clarity as we get into February and March of next year. And so I feel like this is a really key time for setting yourself up well to maximize the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which, yeah, it's the combination of like hope and faith renewed in the ultimate goodness of the universe. You know, something we could use a lot of right now. But if we fully participate in that, fully participating in the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction of next year means like starting to kick ass now. Like if you're going to surf a big wave, like you can see coming next year, if you're going to surf that freeform without any use of speedboats and whatnot, you got to paddle out to catch the wave. And it's like you paddle out with your positive thought forms and your positive encouragement from the inner coach that's pushing you towards your goal, encouraging you towards your goal. It's like this is the time that you are paddling out to catch that big wave. And it's like if you're not paddling, you could miss some of the wave or not get the really yummy one. You know, the really yummy wave is more likely to happen if you're positioned a little bit ahead of everybody else. You get in the lineup, in the sweet spot. I think that's what this is about right now. Setting yourself up to be in the sweet spot to catch the big yummy Jupiter-Neptune wave of 2022. So was there something else I wanted to say about that? Okay, yes, one more thing. Talking about Mars visibility, you can't see it. I have mentioned that. You can't see Mars. This is the period where Mars is way off on their adventures. We can't see what they're doing. And however, Mars returns to visibility in late November. Mars will be visible in the morning sky in late November and then December. It's going to be dim. It's going to be not super easy to see Mars in December, but with binoculars and good skies, I hope I'll get to see Mars in December. That would be amazing. Mars will grow brighter month by month. January, February, Venus is going to conjoin Mars for a really long time early next year, and so it's going to be amazing. I think it'll be a stronger, brighter Mars than recently. Recently, Venus was conjunct Mars in the evening sky, but Mars was, moving on the other side of the sun, hard to spot. It'll be up longer. It'll be further along in its orbit around the sun early next year when it comes back into a conjunction with Venus. So I'll say more about that later. So that's the section on Mars. And we're going to come back. I'm going to do Saturn square Uranus briefly. I've been kind of weaving it in to these different parts, but I'm going to say a few words about the Saturn square Uranus, which is totally the backdrop energy of now. So blessings.